afternoon, I'm Tyler Danberg. Number 1 Ohio State travels to number 17 Illinois Saturday at noon. Hear the Ryan Day Show up next on The Fan. The Columbus Blue Jackets' 25th season begins tonight at the Nashville Predators. Coverage on The Fan starts at 7:30. Face-off at 8. Earlier on T-Bone and Tyvus, head coach Dean Evison announced Jet Greaves will start in goal. NFL tonight, Eagles and Giants battle at 8:15. Earlier today, the Browns sent corner Greg Newsome II and a 6th-round pick to the Jaguars for corner Tyson Campbell and a 7th-rounder. Campbell has 42 passes defended in 5 seasons with Jacksonville. Baseball tonight, Game 4 of the NLDS. Dodgers host the Phillies at 6:08, leading 2-1. Brewers visit the Cubs at 9:08, also leading 2-1. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is the Ryan Day Show, presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance and by the American Dairy Association Mideast on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics. Now, along with head coach Ryan Day and former OSU All-American Jim Lachey, here's the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels.
Thank you for joining us this week, as we do each and every Thursday for Coach Ryan Day's radio shows. Ohio State gets ready to go on the road for the second time this season, traveling to Champaign to take on the Fighting Illini of the University of Illinois. Coach, thanks as always for your time. Let's begin by just asking you, even a few days removed, about the impressive defensive outing your team had last Saturday.
Yeah, I thought we made some adjustments early in the game, and guys played hard. We went against a little bit of a different style than we had played in previous weeks. Got another red zone stop early in the game, and played physical. Got that 4th down stop, which was great. It was very similar to a turnover when you get that ball towards midfield, and then was able to hit the touchdown right after that. So that was a big momentum swing in the game. But bigger challenge this week, just in terms of a lot of different things. But I think the guys are playing again. I've said this before, with more and more confidence. But, really important we have a great day today and that we continue to prepare for this game here against Illinois.
Coach, is that something you saw in film against the Gophers, the ability to hit the big play down the field? Carnell Tate had several of those. And, we know how sometimes Jeremiah can be a decoy, even though when you're not even using him as a decoy, he can draw a lot of attention. That seemed to open things up for other guys. Yeah.
It depends on what you're getting. You never know quite sure how a team's going to play you, and I think that's where it's important for everybody to understand, but most importantly the quarterback of you have to recognize what the defense is giving you. Are they challenging things at the line of scrimmage, which opens things up down the field, based on is it man or is it zone, and then we try to get them in certain coverages based on formations that we could get into. The one in particular in that game was that unbalanced set where we faked the reverse to Jeremiah. Certainly that's going to draw a lot of attention and then open up the middle of the field for Carnell. So, that was, designed that way. But you got to go put it on the field. I thought the protection was excellent. The throw and catch was as well.
We talk about growth of players, but growth in the coaching staff, too, especially defensively, to make those kind of adjustments.
Yeah, each week being able to communicate what's going on and then go and put it on the field is important. They got us into a couple different groupings, but we were able to quickly adjust and, again, get on the sideline, identify what's going on, and then go from there. But that's a big part of the growth of the coaching staff, but just the players in general in offense and defense is being able to recognize what's going on and then make changes on the field without having to regroup on Sunday. It's too late by then.
What did Minnesota do in the opening drive that they didn't do the rest of the game? Because I know you did identify and you made some changes after that, but what did you see that they were trying to do to you guys early on?
I think it was pretty clear early in the game that they were getting into bigger groupings and looking to get the ball kind of spread out and ball out of his hand quickly, quick passes, a couple things up front in the run game that we were able to recognize. And so we made those adjustments quickly and tried to take those things away.
Is that where having those tablets down there helps you with things like that?
Yeah, but each play, you get the coach's copy of the sideline, the end zone, and then also the TV copy. And so, pretty much in real time, you get a chance to see what happened on the last play because before we had that, we would have to, trust the eyes of the guys upstairs. And now we're actually able to see it and then show the players. That's probably the biggest thing. Did you see this look? Because sometimes for players, they think they saw something and then you actually get the chance to show it to them. And, I tell the story about, we were playing the national championship game, and Notre Dame went, I think, 15 or 16 plays right down the field, and we were getting knocked off the ball. And, I said to Jack Sawyers, who came off the field, I said, Jack, you guys are getting your ass kicked. And he comes over, he goes, no, we're not. He says, the inside guys are. I said, no, all of you guys are getting your ass kicked. So he says to me, he says, no, that's not true. I said, go over on the iPad, and then you come over to me and you tell me if you're getting your ass kicked. And so he comes over a little bit. He goes, yeah, Coach, we're getting our ass kicked. And that was the end of that. So it's good for the iPad's good in that realm because we're able to identify the things that are going on and then get them fixed.
Yeah, that's quick evaluation right away.
Harsh reality.
And sometimes, that can be good and sometimes that can be bad. But for you guys, it was good because you got to identify what they're doing and you're able to do that. When Kenyatta went out, we're thinking, okay, C.J. Hicks is going to get some opportunities. And then we're seeing like, well, he's got his helmet off on the sideline. I know you guys are making, red shirt evaluations on certain guys, and C.J.'s in that conversation. But is it tough to make those decisions when you don't know what the NCAA is going to do as far as 4 or 5 years for these guys? I mean, it could be all mute if that's the case, if they're going to give everybody 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, we could sit here and talk a lot about some of the frustrations that we all have. We have to figure out how to make real decisions with these things, but I think what you're talking about is the challenge of, now having a limited roster, but then having a situation where you have, 5 years to play 4 years, and with the redshirt rule, you're able to play 4 games, but also the postseason. So without knowing if we're going to get a 5 for 5, which I think a lot of people are predicting is a real possibility, I think some of these players are getting put in a really difficult position because they're going to look back and see how they missed out on maybe 8 games that they could be playing. We're taking it on a week-to-week basis based on injuries, based on depth. But we also want to take into consideration, doing the right thing. But it's a tough spot to be in if you're in one of those players right now that are trying to figure out what's next because you play in one more game, you're done, your career's done if the rule doesn't pass. And I think that's where I've been talking to Ross about this and trying to help advise these guys. But it's difficult when you don't get a lot of information about what's coming next.
Does that become even more complicated when you're trying to figure out a travel roster?
Yeah, that's it. And we're going to take it week to week and figure out what gives the best chance to win and go from there.
But we did see Zion Grady come in, and it seems like every time he's got an opportunity to get on the field, he shows up, and that's a good quality to have for a freshman. Logan George is kind of in that same thing. The more he plays, the better he picks up things and is handling things. So you got some guys that can do it, but you just want to find that group. But Zion and Logan seem to be stepping up to that opportunity that they're getting.
Great opportunity for them. Yeah. Great opportunity for a lot of guys on our team, over the next couple of weeks, but in particular this game right here, to go get a chance to get on the field and play. So when you have these opportunities, you got to take them and run. And I think when you know that you're going to get on the field and play, your overall approach is just a little bit more focused and concentrated. When you just think you may be going on the scout team and you're going to give the guys a look, that's a different perspective. So the coaches kind of coach you different. They everything gets picked apart and a little bit more critical because we know that you're going to put you in the game. And so all of those things add up, and we need a bunch of guys to step up.
If you have a question for Coach Day, you can submit it to our Union Home Mortgage inbox at OhioStateBuckeyes.com and click on Ryan Day Show inbox. Union Home Mortgage, the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Learn about their 1% down payment program at UHM.com, an equal housing lender. Saturday, Ohio State at Illinois will be on the air with the AEP Energy Buckeye pregame show beginning at 10:30 a.m. More of today's show presented by Roosters coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Buckeye fans, choose chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes those moments when you choose to rise above the noise and choose chill even better. Coors Light is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, so crack one open and take a sip. Coors Light, choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, beer.
Hey, Ohio State fans, are you looking to score big with your home equity? Union Home Mortgage will help you unlock the value of your home and fund the promises you've made to yourself and your family. If you need to pay off debt, have home improvements, or whatever your family needs are, visit UHM.com and score financial freedom with Union Home Mortgage, the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Union Home Mortgage Corp. is an equal housing opportunity lender and MLS number 2229.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Buckeye fans, this is for you. Level up with the brand new AAA Buckeyes MVP membership. You'll receive all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win tickets to Ohio State sporting events, access to exclusive MVP experiences, along with 10% off select gear at the Ohio State team shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Buckeyes MVP membership for free. Head to AAA.com/Buckeyes to upgrade or join the squad and put your fandom in drive.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with low prices in every aisle. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our low prices. Kroger shoppers never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 3 trips to a Buckeye first-round postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Welcome back to our show with Coach Day, and it's time for our Elk and Elk 2 Deep Report presented by Injury Lawyers at Elk and Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio. You were talking about practice and the need for good practice today, as there is for every day. But are you seeing the guys now are learning and continuing to learn the importance of what they do each and every practice segment to be able to take that out to the game?
I think so. To say everybody does, no. I mean, that's probably unrealistic, but I think the more the guys who have played in games before are leading the way on that and bringing the others along, then you got a chance, because that's it. I mean, the way that you practice, to me, especially in college, is very, very important, and that's typically how you end up playing. You watch a guy like Caden Curry have all this production. Well, that's what you see in practice every day. There's nobody on the field who you watching the game, you're like, oh, they didn't practice like that. That was a surprise. No, you see them play work like that during practice. So all those things are important, and it's important for young players to understand that. And Tuesdays and Wednesdays are very, very physical. Today we take the pads off, and we call it a test. We want perfect Thursdays, and there's a lot of ways to do that. And everyone's got to do their job. Everything's got to be crisp. The scout team's got to be crisp. The script's got to be crisp. The guys got to do a great job in their communication. All those things. So important day to day.
Coach, you talked about the importance of practicing in the rain every once in a while. Did you get a chance on Tuesday to get out there in the rainy? It was raining almost all afternoon.
Right, yeah. So we looked at the schedule and realized that, it wasn't going to rain on Saturday. So we wanted a crisp practice, and I would say that Tuesday was probably the best practice we've had all year. Wednesday, but Tuesday was really sharp. So that was good. We got a clean practice in, and so, we're counting on that to carry over here for the rest of the week.
We've talked so much about how well the defense played against Minnesota, but offensively, when you look at some of the things that happened, we have to start with the offensive line. That seems to be maybe as consistent a group as any of the position groups this year so far.
Well, I think that there's some guys in there that have played a decent amount of football now and have confidence and feel like, going into a game, there's probably not a lot they haven't seen. So that's good. I mean, there's just a level of composure when you go into a game. Now, we're going to go on the road. It's going to be loud. Composure in terms of communication will be important. And in a game like this, I thought the guys handled that well at Washington. Now this has to carry over here at Illinois. But to me, this is like a top 10 matchup. I know that they had the game against Indiana, but throw that game out because it was just one of those days. And when you look at what they've done, who they beat, and then what Brett's done since he's been in Illinois. I mean, this is a very, very good team. So this is a bigger challenge going on the road, and the offensive line has got to do their part on this thing because they have a good front, and again, making sure that we're doing a good job of identifying the fronts. They play multiple fronts, and making sure everybody's on the same page, and then attacking because. When you're on the road and it gets loud, it's easy to sort of, not attack it. But that has to be the focus and making sure that we're rocking off the ball.
It was good to see guys were ready to go. I know when Philip Daniels lost his helmet, next thing you know, Ian Moore was ready to go. Ran out there, was able to fill in for that play. And then, Philip was back out there. Josh Padilla got a chance to play a little right guard. It's good to get that depth involved because, once you feel like you're part of that game plan, you work, concentrate, focus a little bit harder as you go through the week.
Yeah, and good to see them when they got into the game, they moved the ball down the field. That was a good sign too. And I try to tell those guys when you get in the game, man, what a great opportunity to get on the field and put something on film. You have the coaches coach you, and you're going against a Big Ten defense. Like build confidence in yourself, build trust in your teammates, and so it was good to see that, because there's been times where we just kind of go 3 and out and you throw your headset in the air. But that was good because, we got the first down, we mixed in a pass, and then we finished off the drive. So, you watch those guys, they come in the next week with a little bounce in their step, like you said.
When you think about offensive line play and what the running backs do behind them, is there certain things that backs have to pick up with the way linemen set up, with the way they block, that kind of makes that all work in sync?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's all how it fits, the run fits, and then the tempo, the ball handling between the quarterback and the running back, and how fast you're hitting it based on the style of play, whether it's a zone scheme, a stretch scheme, a gap scheme. There's a rhythm and a tempo to all of that, and sometimes as a running back you can be too fast, sometimes you can be too slow. I mean, there's exactly that to it. So and some guys have a better feel for certain schemes. But the more our running backs play, the more they're getting a feel for it, the more they're getting more comfortable. You can see that because I feel like all of our CJ's probably the most experienced, but certainly Bo and James, Isaiah, the more they play, the better they're going to be. I think they all have high ceilings.
Coach, on Tuesday at your press conference, you're talking about the quarterbacks and their ability to call out some of these long plays. Now, usually got a formation, a play call, a movement, snap count is basis of a whole play call. But sometimes those can get wordy. Is that what you pretty much when you give the play, it's those 4 things that you have kind of mixed in there?
Yeah. So usually it starts with a shift, if there's a shift. So move to whatever the formation is. Then there's a motion. So move to I right, Zach. So you're moving. I right would be the formation. Zach would be the motion. Then you have the play. F62, whatever it might be, and then if there's an alert on it, there's an alert on it, and then you can go to another play based on the look. So the calls can get very wordy in every single detail of every whether it's the direction or the number or any of those things is important, and making sure that the quarterback is telling a story when he's doing it is all part of being in the huddle, because when you're talking and giving information, there's certain people in the huddle that need to know certain information,
right.
And so it's not just one same way you're calling all the words. I mean, there's a emphasis on certain things, and there's a feel to it because we're communicating, and then we all break the huddle together as one. So there's an art to it, and it's great when they have a nice long call. They see it as a challenge. Will was that way last year, and then when they break the huddle, you hear the other quarterbacks and the centers, getting fired up about it, because when you break the huddle as one after that, it's just a crisp feeling to it.
Yeah, when you're guard, you don't need to worry about a formation. When you're tackle, you like to know where the tight end's going to be, so you pay attention. But basically, for offensive lineman, it's the play call and snap count.
Yeah, give me the protection.
Give me protection, play call. Where are we running the football, and then the snap count. You don't need. What percentage of plays do you have a check with me or a second play that's involved in that?
Probably every week, probably a little bit more. Probably a third. And then as time goes on, I think with Will last year we were probably closer to half or more. And there's give and take with all that. There's investment. That's kind of the way that we look at it. They're all good plays. Every play is really good play. But what's right for us, and then how much investment do we want to put in that play, and then what are we going to get out of it? And those are all the decisions you make. And we could alert every play if we wanted to, but Julian's going to need a nap at halftime because of all the work that goes on. So there's just a lot that goes with it. And at the end of the day, we want to rock off the ball and move people up front and not have to be thinking too much. And so that's, the minute we get into doing too much of that, or running plays that aren't good into those looks. And then the minute you start getting too cute, well, we're not going to do that. Call, I right, power right, and we're going to rock off the ball and try to move people. So it's this back and forth that, we go back and forth as coaches in the meeting room and throw coffee at each other and all that stuff. But the point is, when we leave, we all have to be arm in arm together, and that's where the trust comes in, and we have good chemistry right now.
I think you kind of addressed it, but then just as important to be able to recognize what it is the defense is doing on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, that's it. And is it, the more complicated they are, sometimes the more basic we have to be, and then vice versa, and trying to figure that part of it out. Based on what you're going against and the personnel you're going against, and where do you think your advantages are, and then having a balanced attack that is aggressive, but also we're making sure that we're staying on track with positive runs and completions.
When you look at Illinois, they kind of go down as a 3-4 team, but, when you throw in number 17, Akis in there, he plays like a defensive lineman because, he's 270. He's bigger than a lot of defensive linemen. So, when you're looking at there, you're looking at, 3 down line plays, 4 down line plays, when you're trying to come up with your game plan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have multiple fronts, 3, 4, and 5 down. They do a good job of moving people around, and they have some guys who are multiple in terms of what they can do, sort of like our guys. And so, that's where the communication has to come into play. That's where the offensive line has to recognize, first off, how many are down, and then kind of go from there, making sure the identification is correct.
Be sure to check out the Buckeye Game Day Concert Series presented by the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer before every home game this season. Outside of St. John Arena in Buckeye Fan Fest, each week features a different artist on stage 2 hours before kickoff. Get on board and book your cruise today. Visit BuckeyeCruise.com. Go Bucks and beat cancer. And we'll have more of today's show presented by Roosters when we continue on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
AEP Energy wants to know if you're ready to say goodbye to higher rates and hello to savings. Get your energy costs under control by locking in a fixed rate for your electricity supply. You'll lower your bills and get price protection from rising rates. Take control and lock in a low fixed rate. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. AEP Energy is a competitive retail electrical and natural gas service provider and affiliate of Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio. AEP Energy is not soliciting on behalf of and is not an agent of AEP Ohio.
The Donato's Pep Duo Pizza is back, and it brought a pal. The Donato's Pep Duo, loaded with crispy pepperoni and 3 kinds of cheese. Now get a large Pep Duo pizza for just $14.99. Also back, Donato's deliciously dippable pepperoni cheese bread. Now on the $5 Pizza Pals menu for a limited time. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's, gotta love more.
When you're here, you understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And at Elk & Elk, we're proud to wear scarlet and gray every Saturday. Every client, every day, means if you're ever injured, we're proud to stand with you in court. And when you're here at the shoe, we're proud to stand with you and cheer on the Buckeyes.
Whether we're here at the big game or in court, we are committed to you.
Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hear every Buckeye game every year. The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Buckeye fans, power up and carbon down with AEP Energy and Eco Advantage, their 100% renewable energy plan for your home or business. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State athletics. The Buckeyes traveling to Champaign to take on Illinois this Saturday. Time for our Inside Access with Kroger. A reminder that Kroger Pickup is the easy way to get what you want right when you need it. Try Kroger Pickup today in the Kroger app or at Kroger.com. We'll tie this to the first of our Union Home Mortgage Inbox questions. Brad in Youngstown asking, who are some of your non-captains who have shown the most growth either on the field or as leaders since the beginning of the season?
Well, we only had 4 captains this year, but we have a lot of leaders. And, I think about, guys like Caden Curry, not only his play on the field, but his leadership has been very, very important. You look at IGB. I mean, this is a guy who has really matured in so many different areas, especially with his game. He's doing a great job. Carnell has a voice. Luke Montgomery, Carson Hinsman. I could probably name off a whole bunch of guys that I feel like have really stepped up. And it's one of those things that when you go through the process of going through the captains, that's one thing. But then just because you're not a captain doesn't mean you can't be a leader. You take Will Howard last year, for example, one of our leaders, but he wasn't captain. So I think all those things go into consideration. But no, a lot of guys are stepping up, and the more guys that get on the field, I think they build confidence in themselves and they find their voice. But it's been good to see guys, step up in those areas. I will say through the first, quarter of the season, you've seen more and more guys step up and have a voice, and that's been important. And guys like Arvell Reese and others who have played in the past, but now they're stepping into starting roles are some of the ones that are doing that.
Boy, it looked like Davidson Igbenogza was going to get every tackle early in that ballgame. He was coming off making a lot of plays, and that's good to see. And usually you don't see your cornerback, with 24 tackles already, after this. But he's been a guy that can get off his receiver and get back into the action in a hurry to make those plays. Yeah,
and we knew going into that game, one of their game plans was the fact that they wanted to get the ball bounced to the corners, and they do a good job of that. They line up in multiple groupings and block it all up and then try to get the ball bounced to the corners. And so that was one of the things that we talked about. We go through each group and talk about the plan and things they need to get done in that game. And one of the things that they talked about, and actually Davison talked about, was they're going to force us to tackle. And so right out of the gate he set the tone of the game and he made some big tackles, and you could see the energy because he knew in the game he had to do that. And then before you know it, you don't see the ball bouncing you very often. Right. So, you got to prove yourself, and that's the game. The game is going to try to figure out where they can attack you, and you're either putting strength or weakness on film. He's putting strength on film because he's tackling at a high level. You start missing those tackles, they're coming after you, and so we say that all the time. You probably remember on field goal, they're trying to find that weak spot, they're going to find the weakness, and so you cannot put weakness on film because they're coming. The coaches are too good, the players are too good.
On offense, we have to talk about Julian Sand with the way he's played, with the way he played Saturday, and just where you continue to see him growing in his game.
Well, I think the step he took forward in this game was probably just the amount of the downfield throws and the accuracy he made on those throws, which was great. And it starts with his footwork and his preparation and recognizing what the coverage is, and then during the week, getting those throws down the field and feeling the confidence and layering the ball or where the timing is and all the footwork, and there's a lot that goes with it. A big part of that is the protection, though, and when you can stand in there and throw the ball in a good pocket, that all goes into play. So everybody's involved with it. Because I think, we've been here before. We say, well, what seems to be going wrong with the run game? What seems to be going wrong with the passing game? And usually, you hear the coach say, well, everybody's involved with it. Well, when it's going well, like it is here, it's everybody involved with it. It's the receivers getting open, it's the protection, and obviously the quarterback has to make the throw. But I do think you see a lot of guys on the offense building more and more confidence every day when Julian's back there. And that's because of the way he's handling himself, how he's delivering, how he's performing, and he's getting more and more of a command on the field.
And he earned some credibility amongst his teammates when he could stand in the pocket and deliver, take the shot, and deliver a nice throw to Max Clear. I think everybody, like, hey, that shows you something just a little bit different. That you might think he has it, but you don't know until it happens. And it happened. He delivered it on the money and got right back and cheered with his teammates.
That's it. And that's how you show toughness as a quarterback. You're not in the middle inside drill and pounding every single day in practice, and those type of things. But when you get into a game, that's how you show toughness. You show your physicality by standing in there with a lot of guts and delivering the ball. Whether it's a third down, red zone, play action, whatever it might be. And it's good to see him do that. And like you said, those linemen see that. It shows them that this is a guy that's willing to put it on the line for him.
And that's not really coachable, right? You got to just see that. You got to feel it. You got to do it. I mean, you can tell all of them you have to do all this hang in a pocket, but you went through it as a quarterback. That's tough to do.
It's coachable. I don't know if they always listen, but it's coachable. But no, I think some guys just have a feel for the rush, but can see downfield, and I think that is something that you recognize with Julian. He can see what's going on downfield, but then feel the rush. Some guys, they see the rush and they're trying to figure out what's going on downfield, and that's where you can create a lot of problems for yourself. So he has a good feel for that, and some of that is innate for sure.
When you talk about footwork for quarterbacks, is there a starting point where their feet have to be in the right place before the ball's snapped?
Yeah. Footwork is very, very important. You get all your power throwing the football from the ground up. I say it a lot, like if you ever treading water in a pool and you try to throw a ball, it doesn't really go very far because all of the power comes from the ground. It's like when you're throwing a punch. If you don't have your feet in the ground, you have no power behind your punch. It all starts from the ground. And so when you're throwing a football, you're one thing you can do is just stand there and throw a ball, but that's unrealistic. Your feet have to move. This game is constantly moving, and you have to be able to take a drop, get away from center, change the pocket, get out of the pocket, all these different things, and take a 3-step drop, a 1-step drop, a 5-step drop, and then deliver it based on the timing. But if your feet aren't underneath you, then you're not going to be as accurate and have as much pace on the ball. So it's something we spend a lot of time on.
Coach, when you're looking at Illinois, they've had a little niche for creating turnovers. 8 forced fumbles or 8 fumble recoveries that they've had on the defensive side of the ball, plus 7 in the turnover margin. What do they do different that maybe you haven't seen some other teams do that you play on film when you're playing them this week?
Well, very opportunistic. They're always running the ball. So if the ball's out, there's guys there. That's the first thing. I think the second thing is they're good at tackling. They get the second guy there, and then the technique of stripping the ball. And when you play in a zone where you can converge to the ball with multiple people, that's a big part of the coaching of it. So a well-coached defense and again, very opportunistic in those areas. So it's an area that we've got to do a great job of on offense. We have to take care of the football in this game. They do a great job of it, and we know on the road ball security is very, very important.
Let's see. Lenny and Barberton next with our Union Home Mortgage Inbox questions. Easier for players and coaches to stay hungry knowing that when you go on the road, you're going to be the biggest opponent. They're your opponent's biggest opponent, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, every time we play in a game, I try to say that, you're playing across the line, you're playing Superman. What I mean by that is, they're going to play their best game against you. You're Ohio State, and not only individually do they want to, put film out there that, they say that they could, beat Jeremiah Smith or Caleb Downs or whoever it might be, but for their team, this is an opportunity for them to really put a notch on their belt and get a win against top team in the country. So I think that's what you have to understand. But when you come here and we talk about it in recruiting, that's the case. That's the way it always has been and always will be here at Ohio State. So we have to continue, like the question was, stay hungry and stay desperate every single week, regardless of what happened the week before.
And this will be your first time going to Champaign, playing Illinois. I got to think first time coaching against Coach Bielema too. Man.
Both first time, yeah, first time.
And what have you seen? Aaron Henry, their defensive coordinator. What have you seen on their defense so far this year? And that Coach Bielema has a lot of influence on that side of the ball.
Yeah, he's a very good coach, and obviously has a great history of winning games and in this conference. And we know going on the road, first off, in this conference is difficult to win, but then with an experienced quarterback, we know that's going to be a huge challenge. He does a great job. But on defense, yeah, they change up the looks. When Coach Walters left and went to Purdue, they made the change there, and then Coach Henry's done a really good job of finding what his guys can do well. they really challenge them in terms of having multiple looks and multiple coverages and try to change the disguise, and it's very intricate defense. And their players are smart, disciplined, and can execute it well.
Buckeye fans, this season Roosters is giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences, including tickets, sideline passes, and trips to a postseason game. 3 drawings, 12 prizes. Register today and every day at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the sponsor of our weekly show with Coach Day. We'll have more of it when we continue on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
If you are a fighter, Modelo is your reward. So listen close. You put up with a lot, but you always hold it down for your people. You are strong. You are fearless. You are the baddest on the block. You are an elbow grease factory, a force of nature. You are not to be reckoned with. You are a ride or die, a powerhouse of productivity. You are a fighter, and Modelo is your reward. You've earned every last drop of this rich golden lager, so raise it up high. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with low prices in every aisle. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our low prices. Kroger shoppers never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
The 2026 Buckeye Cruise for Cancer sets sail on the Silver Sea Silver Ray. It's an intimate ship with an even better experience. It's all inclusive of beverages, shore excursions, taxes, and gratuities. Sail to bucket list ports like the Grand Turk, St. Martin, and St. Thomas. With Buckeye greats including Ryan Day, Bobby Carpenter, A.J. Hawk, the Boren Brothers, Ezekiel Elliott, Ryan Shazier, and more. Sailing from Fort Lauderdale, February 17th through the 24th. Call 614-792-6204 to book today.
James Peoples here, running back for the Ohio State Buckeyes. You have to check out the brand new AAA Buckeyes MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win tickets to Buckeye sporting events, access to exclusive MVP experiences, along with 10% off select gear at the Ohio State Team Shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Buckeyes MVP membership for free. Head to AAA.com/Buckeyes to upgrade or join the squad and put your fandom in drive.
Always and forever your home of the Buckeyes. Home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Join Coach Ryan Day and experts from across Buckeye Nation to preview every matchup and break down each week's game. Game Time with Ryan Day, presented by Huntington Bank, airs Saturday mornings at 9 on 10 TV in Columbus and statewide on OhioStateBuckeyes.com. We'll go back to our Union Home Mortgage inbox questions. This is from Steve and Powell. And Steve says, I know it's the same rule for all teams, but would you like to see the play clock maybe paused at, say, 5 seconds if the official is preventing a snap because of a slow defensive substitution, or would that overcomplicate things for the clock operator? Probably yes on that part.
Yeah, I just think sometimes when the referees feel like they're doing it, to be gamey, just to play the game a little bit and slow down the offense. I just think every once in a while, because I was asking Matt Patricia about this. He said, well, in the NFL, every once in a while, they just let it go and they snap the ball, and that's the end of that. The guy starts to hustle a little bit faster. So that's my suggestion. Like every once in a while, just, as the guy's taking his time getting into the game, just get out of there and snap the ball, and he's going to find himself hustling a little bit faster. So that's my suggestion.
Coach, you still like your 3 running backs and what they're doing, and the growth that they've had. I know we saw a little bit of Isaiah West last game too. Some of the guys are kind of breaking that 3-man rotation, but I think what Bo gives you, CJ and James, all a little bit different, but they've all been pretty consistent so far.
Yeah, well, we wanted going into last game to continue to get our pads down, finish all runs, make 2-yard runs, 4-yard runs, but also make some guys miss. And so we really start, charting, yards after contact and when you make guys miss. And we were able to do that in the game. And so that was a step in the right direction. I think when you're a running back, the more you play, the more you can feel space, the more you understand how things work. And when you're getting tackled, it's a lot different than when you're in practice. And when the majority of those, CJ's played a decent amount of football, like I said before, but the other 3 guys haven't played all that much, certainly not in college. So the more that they play, the more I feel like they're getting the feel for the angles and the body angles and, how they need to, drop their pads, when they need to, hammer it in there for an ugly 2, when it's time to bounce it and try to create a little bit more of an explosive play. All those things come in. And then there's also the protection in the passing game.
We know that his size is part of it, but is C.J. Donaldson one of those backs that seems to have a red zone knack?
Yeah, well, CJ can do multiple things. He's he's good in protection. He's good out of the backfield, and then he can get physical yards down there because, as we know, that the game shrinks and the field shrinks. So you have to be able to play in tight areas, and being physical is important.
Coach, on your defensive line, defensive tackle rotation, we know Caden McDonald's going to get a lot. Edric Houston has gotten some. Tywan Malone has really played well. And then I thought last week we saw Will Smith Jr. take another step positive. So, Larry's going to play a bunch of guys in that defensive line. That rotation at defensive tackle seems to be very important. He seems like he's got 4 or 5 guys now that can do that.
It's critical. And to your point, Will really stepped up last week, and that was good for his confidence. And it's good to see, the linebackers see him making plays and knocking back the line of scrimmage and keeping guys off the linebackers. So, very, very important part of our defense are those guys right there. And getting challenged every day, you're seeing a lot of progress, and again, a lot of confidence there.
Is Peyton Pierce a guy that's done that also, especially with giving you an extra linebacker look?
Yeah, Peyton, you see him play on special teams, you're seeing him play in the game. He's a very, very good linebacker and diagnoses things fast, can react very quickly. He was a very good high school wrestler, and so he's a good tackler. And a very intelligent player.
He seems very productive, too. He's already got 19 tackles, and that's in limited time. Right. So when he's out there, he makes plays. And generally, if they got 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, he'll be in that package. He'll be out there in the field. But, he's just got a knack for being around the football.
Sees it, moves quick. When you just certain guys, it just makes sense to them, and I've had a chance to be around some great linebackers and just watch them operate. And even when they're young, they just see things fast and they're moving fast, there's speed and then there's game speed, and when you can see things fast and anticipate what's going on based on your, some is just instincts, but part of it is your preparation, what you're looking at. You're looking at the guard's, stance, you're looking at the alignment of the back. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. He can process all that fast, and that allows him to have the production.
Is that also what adds to what Arvell Brees brings, adding the pass rush element to it?
Yeah, Arvell, does. He brings a lot to the table. His length, his power, his versatility, and you're seeing him play at a high level right now, a huge part of our defense.
And him and Sonny are almost, identical in what they can bring. Probably, I'd say Arvell's been a little bit more effective as a pass rusher, maybe Sonny a little bit better in pass defense, as far as, but still both those guys have so much that they can do, and that can be confusing for an offensive coordinator because they're almost, carbon-type guys, and you got 2 of them.
Well, both guys, I was mentioning this the other day, Sonny started at safety and then moved his way down, and then Arvell was at linebacker and then spent a good portion of his freshman year as a defensive end on the scout team and then moved back. So when you move from, the different levels, you understand how it all fits together. But then you also have the skill set of rushing the passer, of playing coverage, of the different things that you need. And both of them at a young age had a sort of a growth mindset of like, I remember Paris Johnson played right guard, then he played right tackle, all on his way to becoming, the first left tackle taken in the draft, because they had this mindset of like, all right, I'm playing this position, but it's going to help me in the long run understand football better. Both of the linebackers are that way, and because of that, their skill sets is something that, our defensive staff has been able to utilize.
As a coaching staff, you've got to love the fact that there's guys willing to do whatever, whether it's changing positions or doing different things like that.
Well, that's, the part of, you've heard me talk about this again, the unselfishness. We have to be unselfish as a team. I think it's harder now more than ever to bring a team together to make sure that they're going to do what's best for the team when there's so many things on the table nowadays where it's about me. We try to recognize that in recruiting. We try to talk to our guys a lot about that part of it. But you see a lot of guys on this team that care about Ohio State, they care about being a Buckeye, they care about the brotherhood, and that's important. They all want to do well, but that part of it and being unselfish is, I think, what's going to separate the really good teams from the great teams at the end of the season.
As always, Coach, thanks for your time. All the best come Saturday.
You got it, guys.
Union Home Mortgage is the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Learn about their 1% down payment program at UHM.com. An equal housing lender at NMLS number 2229. Again, that's NMLS number 2229. When we continue, we'll talk with wide receiver Nolan Baldo. This is the Coach Ryan Day Show presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Experience Buckeye Game Day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium into the press box and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Hey, Buckeye fans, as the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 3 trips to a Buckeye first-round postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
AEP Energy wants to know if you're ready to say goodbye to higher rates and hello to savings. Get your energy costs under control by locking in a fixed rate for your electricity supply. You'll lower your bills and get price protection from rising rates. Take control and lock in a low fixed rate. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. AEP Energy is a competitive retail electrical and natural gas service provider and affiliate of Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio. AEP Energy is not soliciting on behalf of and is not an agent of AEP Ohio.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back to our show this week as Ohio State gets ready to travel to Champaign, Illinois to face the Fighting Illini on Saturday. And the guy that lost the bet that has to spend the last segment with us is junior wide receiver Nolan Baudo from Chicago and Marist High School. Thanks for coming out and talking to us. Certainly it's got to be a thrill for you that you're going someplace where family's going to come watch the team play.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. And, I appreciate you guys having me on. And, a ton of family coming down this week, so it should be a fun little trip.
Did you have a lot of family that was Illinois? I know you talked a little bit before you got here, but tell the listeners out there about your connections with Illinois.
Yeah, so most of my mom's side of the family either went or goes to the University of Illinois. I think my mom's, one of her uncles did, or multiple of her uncles did, and then my one younger cousin is a freshman there right now. So a lot of ties to the University of Illinois, so it should be a good little trip. I'm excited to see everybody.
Well, part of your gig is involving signaling plays in. Explain to folks what's all involved in that, how that came about, and just the pride that you take in being able to do that.
Yeah, so it kind of came about spring ball of last year, beginning of the winter, and Coach Bailey and Coach Hartline just kind of approached me about it and was like, hey, this gig, most of our support staff left last year, and those were the ones who did it last year, and they were like, we think you'd be a good fit, trustworthy guy. I proved myself in the weight room quite a bit, and they trust me enough to do that, and I think it's kind of the epicenter of the best offense in college football is what I like to call it. So I hear everything. I hear what Coach Day says, Coach Hartline, Coach Fessler. So I'm just kind of the communication center, and they want me to signal, I'll signal. If they want me to, tell Julian get in the huddle, we do that too. And it's a good time. I like it a lot. I'm learning a ton, especially about the day-to-day operations of college football offense. So it's big for me if I want to go into coaching or if I want to go into anything else, about leadership that Coach Day provides and things of that sort.
Coach Day mentioned a week or two ago that you would be a good candidate to get into coaching. Is that something you thought about?
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter a few weeks ago, and a bunch of people sent it to me. And I always thought about being a coach, and once that kind of got put out there, then I really started thinking about being a coach. So I've probably thought about it every day since that got tweeted out. I like it. I've always been big on just from a leadership standpoint. My mom, since I was a young kid, was always big on being a leader and all that type of stuff. I remember she put me in a leadership camp when I was like 7 years old. I didn't really understand why I was in it, but fast forward to today, I think it really helped me a lot. And I just like things of that nature, whether it be the X's and O's of things or being a leader of a group. It really interests me, and it always has been something that I like to do. So if I want to do it, I think Coach Day's words was that I'd be good at it, so that'd be nice.
You also had the opportunity in high school to play with Carnell Tate. What was that experience like?
Yeah, I met Carnell our first football camp of 8th grade going into freshman year at Marist High School, and we were just kind of friends since then. We'd always joke around with each other. He gives me a ton of crap. I go at him too, and it's just a good little relationship. We have a ton of fun and never really too serious until foot hits the ball and we're on the field, and then things get serious, and I'm able to either give him advice, he's able to talk to me about things. It's a good relationship, and I've always cherished him just for being a real friend and kind of being sort of an extension of my family now.
Did you see some things out of Carnell that we're seeing now at the high school level?
Yeah, freshman year he came in and was definitely a little bit different than a lot of our receivers that we had at Marist High School. So he was always different, and I always knew he was going to be a good player, but what stands out to me is, just his work ethic. I think that separates him from a lot of different people. I think when you're blessed with talent at that young of an age, there's two different ways you can go about it. You can either go down the path of, God's blessed me with talent, I'm just going to use the talent, or you can go down the other path where it's, I'm going to develop this talent to something else and become a leader and impact people around me. I think that's the route that he's taken, and I think that has gone to show, the product or production that he's had this year, especially this past game with, 183 yards, Well,
if you are going to get a coach, you have to do a better job recruiting because he left his senior year to go to IMG. Now, you can't blame him for that, but that must have been tough on you.
Yeah, it was tough. Honestly, it ended up helping me because I was going to get the ball more once he left. So, he talked about, coming back for senior year, and I'm like, nah, that's all right. You could say it, IMG, I'm going to get the ball a little bit here. No, but it was fun. That was always tough, having him further away, but honestly it helped me adjust to college. My family's all in Chicago, and I don't get to see them much, so it helped me start developing long-term and long-distance relationships from a young age.
Well, with guys like Carnell, Jeremiah, and yourself, what's it like to go up against that defensive backfield in practice?
Yeah, a lot of those dudes are great competitors. whether it be Davison, Igbinosin, Jermaine, Devin, Lorenzo, really any of those guys, Caleb, Jalen McClain. They're all just great competitors, and I've been going against them for the last 3 years on scout teams. I got that firsthand look of what our defense was going to look like on Saturdays last year, and that was big for me, just to be able to, for one, know that I can compete with those guys, and two, know what the product's going to look like on Saturday. So that gave me some reassurance when they weren't letting me catch too many balls out there. It kind of gave me some confidence that we're going to be good on Saturday. But no, those guys are great. They're all great humans, first and foremost, and second of all, they're great competitors and obviously great football players from what you see on Saturday.
How much have you learned from Brian Hartline, being the wide receiver coach and coordinator now?
Yeah, a ton. He connects really well with every single player in the room, whether that be on or off the field. He always talks to me and jokes with me ever since my freshman year, really my senior year of high school, about whatever it might be. And then obviously on the field, you see the production that he's had, whether it be all the guys in the NFL, the guys that we have here now are just unbelievable pros that we have, and he develops them really well, and he's a really tough coach. He expects, I think Emeka said it yesterday, is that he expects more from you than you expect from yourself. And I think that's plays a big part in how we develop receivers here, and just the mentality that we have going into each and every day.
Nolan, thanks for coming out. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
The Ryan Day Show, presented by Roosters, has been brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance and by the American Dairy Association Mideast. For Skip Mossick, Colin Derringer, Colbert Temis, and for Jim Lachey, Coach Ryan Day, and Nolan Battle, this is Paul Keels. Thanks for listening. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physician for Ohio State athletics.